Now, Washington mornings on the Mall. At AM 630.
It's 8:36 on WMAL. Brian Wilson, Brian Neiman. And on the line right now, we have former Speaker of the House, NEWT Gingrich. Mr. Speaker, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Well, I'm just going to get right to the cut right to the chase here with my line of questioning. You've sort of downsized your campaign. You've let some people go, and the question that I have is, what is the benefit of staying in the race for you at this time? If you are basically have a campaign in mothballs, and you don't have a pathway to get to 1144, what is the reason that you stay in at this point?
Well, it's hardly in mothballs. I'm going to be in Frederick today, for example, and we're going to be at the Hood College at 2 this afternoon. We're going to be at the Frederick Motor Company at 11 this morning. Callista's campaigning in Delaware the next couple of days. I'll be campaigning in North Carolina. It's smaller, but let me just ask you this. The other night when Kansas entered halftime down by 9, which is the second highest margin ever overcome in an NCAA Final Four, what would your advice to at halftime? Why don't you quit? Why don't you give up? Why don't you go home? This is a long way from over. Romney has not earned the nomination yet. He's ahead, but he hasn't earned it. There are a lot of things that happen, like the Etch-a-Sketch comment. I don't want an Etch-a-Sketch platform or an Etch-a-Sketch campaign or an Etch-a-Sketch presidency.
Well, let me ask you this question. I mean, I asked the same question of Ron Paul just a moment ago. You can't get to 1144.
No, but it's possible that Romney can't either. And so I think until he does, remember that they count as part of his vote very contested votes in Arizona, Florida, and Idaho, all three of which, according to the Republican National Committee rules, are supposed to be proportional because of when they were voted on. And he's a long way from getting to a firm 1144.
Marco Rubio said that going to the convention floor, which I'm gathering is your strategy, and trying to make the case there, is a recipe for disaster. What do you think? Well,
I say he's for Romney. Look, I expect every Romney supporter to say, "Why don't you get out and make it easy for Mitt Romney?" But the fact is, we ought to have a platform discussion. First of all, I stand for an American independence energy platform that would mean no future president would bow to a Saudi king, and that would bring gasoline prices down below $2.50. I'd like to see that on the platform. I'm for a personal Social Security savings account for young people, so they can control their retirement and not have politicians control it. I'd like to see that in the platform. There are a number of key issues that define the party. And, Ronald Reagan went all the way to the convention in 1976 because he really believed in key issues for conservatism, and he thought that in the long run, standing for what you believe in mattered.
The president has said recently during his weekly radio address that it's time for Congress to take up the Buffett role. You had the incident in Korea where he was talking to the Russian leaders about, hey, give me some time, I'll have some more flexibility once the election is over. What concerns you about a second term for this president?
Oh, I think if he can get reelected with the worst economy since the Great Depression, the highest gasoline prices in history, the largest deficits in history, a centralized government that wages war on the Catholic Church and wants to control our lives from what car we drive to what doctor we see. If he can win re-election with a record like that, I can't imagine how radical he would be in a second term. And I can't imagine not only would he give away to the Russians, but who else has he said that to overseas that wasn't caught on an open mic?
If those are things that concern you, and I would argue that they concern many, many, many conservatives, I think they would agree with you 100%. But what some people have observed is that the ongoing battle among the Republicans, including three who can't get to the nomination because they're not going to get 1144, that only drives the negatives up of the ultimate nominee, and that hurts the Republican brand, and it makes it difficult for that person to win in the fall.
Wait a second. Where were you in 2008?
I was around this town.
Okay, and when did Hillary and Barack Obama quit fighting?
The date escapes me. I'm sure you know that.
Sometime late in the summer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in the summer, right?
Yeah.
And who won the nomination in March? Oh, it was John McCain. So the guy who won the nomination and had all the easy road all spring got beat, and the guy who had to fight his way to the nomination won. But now we Republicans are told, don't behave like the guys who won, behave like the guys who lost. There's nothing unhealthy about a straightforward debate over the platform We don't know what Romney's platform would be. We don't. I found the Etch-a-Sketch comment, frankly, very disturbing. I don't know what they plan to do. I don't know what kind of presidency it would be. And I'm going to support whoever the nominee is, and I'm going to do everything I can to beat Barack Obama. But I think the platform matters. And I think it matters that the Republican Party have positions that make sense.
What was the secret meeting that we keep hearing about between you and Romney in Louisiana?
There weren't any secret meetings. Romney and I talk regularly. Santorum and I talk regularly. We are all committed to beating Barack Obama.
Do you think that's going to happen? You brought up, if all these things happen under the situation where we have high unemployment, high gas prices, depression-like situations, and he wins again, how is it possible that he could actually even win at this point? Why?
Well, he's going to have $1 billion, the labor unions, the elite media, the power of the presidency, a stunningly ruthless campaign. He's going to go all out. I mean, these guys don't want to give up power. So yeah, of course he could still win. I think it'll be. I think we can beat him, and I think frankly the easiest commercial to make is just an everyday person looking in the camera and saying, "I can't afford 4 more years of Barack Obama." And I think that will resonate with about 65% of the country.
Let me ask you that: how much do you differ from Mitt Romney on the issues? I mean, there's Mitt Romney.
I don't know.
Why do you say you don't know? Because you don't think
which part of the Etch-a-Sketch are you referring to?
Well, I guess that's my point.
That's why the platform. That's why the platform is going to really matter, and that's why I'm going to start raising issues about what's going to be in the platform.
I mean,
and Romney's commitment to a conservative platform would make a considerable difference in his ability to mobilize the Republican Party.
I mean, what he says today sounds like it's conservative and sounds like he's pretty close to where you are and where Rick Santorum is on the major issues. Now, I guess you can argue whether or not you actually believe him or not, but the words that come out of his mouth.
If we can develop a joint approach to the platform, and we can end up having a platform that's a solid conservative platform with ideas like an American energy independence plan, there are a number of steps that I'm going to be laying out over the next couple of weeks what a really positive 21st century conservative platform would look like. As I said, I think the right to have a personal Social Security savings account ought to be part of that, because young people deserve a better deal than they're going to get from politics as usual.
Are you optimistic that Republicans, whoever the nominee, will win in 2012?
I think it's very likely that we'll win. I think it's very likely that we'll carry the Senate. And I think it's very likely that we'll have a chance, but it's only a chance, to turn around the country. I think there is enormous momentum in the bureaucracy and the judges and the institutions of the left to keep this country going in the wrong direction, and it's going to take tremendous leadership, and not just in the White House, but in the House and the Senate, to be able to effectively solve it.
Mr. Speaker, it's great to have you on. I know you got 2 events today in Frederick. You got one at the Frederick Motor Company, 11 o'clock this morning, then you'll be speaking at Hood College this afternoon at 2 o'clock.
Great. Thanks.